Good evening, everybody. Worst winter in a long time, Dennis. Jeff, today we've got the great pleasure of having Jeff Gibby with us from MetaStock, who's going to kind of run through how to use the our scanning searches for the patterns and signals that we've developed for MetaStock. And so, before I start that, he was saying that this has been the world's warmest winter on record. But then we offset it by last winter. So, anyways, tonight what we're going to do is Jeff's going to come on. We've developed the scanning software searches for MetaStock, so he's going to go through how to use that for about the first 30 minutes. And when he's done, I'll come on and do our market analysis. Probably we won't do questions tonight. I'll just go through some of the stocks that I think look good for the next day. So with that, Jeff, welcome back to the Candlestick Forum. We're anxious to see your information tonight.
All right, thanks, Steve. Thanks for having me. I always love coming into Candlestick Forum and talking to you guys and that kind of stuff. I'll just start by saying hi and introducing myself a little bit. I've worked for MetaStock for, I think this year is going to be 18 years, but to be honest, I have to do the math. I know my anniversary is on the 31st of March, so pretty soon we'll ding into another year, but it's a really fun job, and I enjoy it. And I've started in inside sales, and the last several years I've had the pleasure of working with people that are, I would say, a lot smarter about trading than I am, like Steve Bigelow, for example. And so I've known Steve for a number of years. Got really well acquainted with him when we spent probably the better part of a year and a half actually kind of coding all of his stuff for the first time into MetaStock. And it's a product that actually this year I'm very proud of. This year it actually won Stocks and Commodities Reader's Choice Awards for best product or add-on. It was actually the first runner-up. So it's only been out for a few years, but I thought that was a great testament to how well we did with it, and we definitely took a lot of time with it. So it's been a lot of fun. What we wanted to do is all of you that bought the plugins and the add-ons got a copy of the Bigelow CPS system. It's just part of the purchase that you did, and so I was actually thought it would be a good idea to come in and show you how easy it is to set up your scans inside of MetaStock. And so that's pretty much what I'm going to show you today is kind of how to run your scans, how they work, how the expert advisors work, and all that kind of good stuff. And we'll take as long as we need to. I don't think it'll take very long. It's actually a really, really simple process. So let's go ahead and the first thing I actually need to do, you guys all know Steve, I don't need to talk about that. We'll go ahead and just talk a little bit about what's included in the MetaStock version of Candle Profit Systems. And I'm going to kind of go to this screenshot here. We won't spend a lot of time in PowerPoint. If you guys have questions as we go through this, let me know, and I'll do my best to kind of watch them and answer them. But I put together a little bit of a PowerPoint to show you exactly the patterns that are included. And I'm going to come back to this screen as we run our scan. The scan's going to take about 4 minutes to do, so that way we can kind of just set up the scan, we can run it, and then as it's running we can kind of talk about, and I'll show you the patterns that are included. So I've got MetaStock open here, and I need to bring it over onto the right screen, so let me do that. And here we go. It's a very quick, easy installation. The program itself will install itself. You just basically download it and run it, and as long as you've got MetaStock installed, there's no problems with it. So in order to run a scan, you'll do that from within our MetaStock Power Console here. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to click on the Explore button here, and we've got basically the patterns that are available. So we've got the Doji Dynamite, which is your J-hook, your 5-pan bottom with your J-hook. We've got these different scans that you can run, and depending on which pattern you want to find, will determine what scan you want to run. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to run the Doji Dynamite to show you how easy it is. We're going to go ahead and select this one here, and I'm going to instead of running it against all of the optionable stocks that are out there, which I certainly could do, I've done a pre-filter list with this exploration right here. This is called the universe. And what this looks for is this looks for stocks that are over $5 that have a certain minimum volume amount to them. The volume amount is $200,000 shares per day traded. And it's just a pre-filter scan, so you can set up a watch list of stocks that are at least $5 that have a certain minimum volume. So what I'm going to do is I've saved that as a list called my CPS universe. I'm going to run for my Doji Dynamite pattern search. That'll look for my Doji at the top, Doji best friends, left-right combos, left-right bearish combos, my series of Doji, and I'm going to run it against this pre-filtered universe scan. Okay, and when I run this scan, I'll actually show you how to save that list in MetaStock. It's very easy to do as well. So I'm going to go ahead and start this exploration. We're going to go through about 2,700 stocks right now, and we're going to weed out probably around, if I remember right, I ran this scan just about 5 minutes ago, 10 minutes ago. We weeded out really literally 98% of the stocks in there. So what that means is that's 2 out of 100 stocks you're looking at, and you're looking at instead of 100 out of 100. So we'll go ahead and let this run. I'm going to see if there's any questions so far. Is there any other MetaStock users from the Gold Coast in Australia? We have a lot of Australian users, that's for sure. Dee says she doesn't see anything on the screen. Hopefully that's not for everybody. Hopefully that's just a simple thing. I don't know if the display can be magnified. Actually, I'm not doing it very good with this one. Weston asks, how do I get the additional explorations, the CPS universe or the CPS bonus? If I remember right, we created those afterwards when Steve and I were talking about ways to pre-filter the universe, and I can send you a copy of them. They're pretty easy to actually install. Just drop me an email. I'm actually on the road tomorrow, so I'll send it to you as soon as I can. So if you have CPS, just send me an email. I'll send you the pre-filter scans. I actually never consider GDP announcements for personally when I'm trading, but that's kind of personal preference. News is important. I actually don't consider it too much. Hevid asks a really good question, and this is kind of cruising through pretty good. Do we have a futures data feed? Hevid, we get all of our data from Thomson Reuters. They cover, our coverage is about 197 exchanges. That includes like Australian shares, Indian shares. We get a lot of customers from Singapore and Hong Kong. And with the exception of the pre-filter things, which are looking for a specific dollar amount, this whole thing will work in anything you're interested in. You bet, Weston. Jane Carruthers asks, what about stocks that trade after hours? Is this just a scan until New York closes? That's a really good question. This scan can be run at any particular time during the day. Even with our what we call our MetaStock DC program, you can run this scan during the day, and you can see the stocks that are kind of forming a pattern up to about an hour ago with our end-of-day version of the program. And with real-time, you could run it at any time during the day. CPS stands for Candle Profit Systems. There's plenty of questions while we run this scan. It is a little bit faster when we're running it real time, or when we're running it without the screen share, but you'll notice that it's only going to take about 3 minutes to run. So that's pretty good. 4 minutes to run, to be frank. Jim asked, can this be used in real-time data? Yes, as long as you have MetaStock real-time, or the RT version of MetaStock, you can use this. We're going to, for those of you that got this as part of the indicator package, we'll give you a free trial to MetaStock, and I'll show you how to get that. You can either set up for real-time or end of day. Jim asks, are we looking for a daily Doji scan? Actually, we're not right now. We're looking for everything that would be considered part of the Doji Dynamite setups. So that would actually include the ones right here: Doji tops, Doji best friends, left-right combo bullish, left-right combo bearish, series of Doji bull. These are the patterns we're scanning for right now. It's done now. I'm going to go ahead and open the reports button. But we could also run any of the other scans that are on there. They're just under a different scan heading. Here we've got the price patterns, you've got the fry pans, the belt holds. These are all the patterns that you can scan for. What we did was we broke them into different segments based on what they were looking for. Okay, good question. Alex asks, is MetaStock available in Canada? Yeah, actually, we have a lot of customers up in Canada as well. Cool. Dee, I'm glad you can see the recording. Let's go ahead and look at the report. Again, it's an easy process. We just saved ourselves looking at 2,700 stocks by hand. And the list that came up, this is the list that we actually see. So we've got Petrol Basilia A. We've got quite a few different lists. And that was the right scan against the right universe. These are the ones that are actually kind of have these particular patterns. So we've got dojis at the top, doji best friends, left-right bulls, left-right bears, series of bear, series of bulls. So they're all labeled at the top. A 1 in the column means that's the pattern that happens. So for example, Perkel-Lenmer had a doji top. Farron we have some interesting names here. Had a doji best friend, and this one had the top one, Petrolio, had a left-right bullish combo. So what I would do at this point, usually I like to save this as a list, because then I can go in and I can actually see which ones are kind of I can kind of take a peek at all 4 of these and see which ones out of these 4 that I like the best. So you'll see right here there's an option to save this as a list. I'm going to go ahead and click on that. And I'm just going to add it to the scan I ran a little bit earlier that came back with 9. That was my CPS list for 3/26/2015. So I'm just going to go ahead and save that to a list here. Click OK. And now we're done with the exploration. Now, of course, we want to go in and look at the charts. So I'm going to close out the Explore dialog box. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and click back into charting. So right here we've got our list of charts that are available. I've got that 326, and I've got about the 12 or 13 different issues that were part of that that came back on that scan. So this is a tree view. Just for those of you that kind of are interested, there is Toronto, TSX, there's just tons and tons of different indexes that are available in different regions that are available. So one of the nice things is you can use our product pretty much anywhere that you're interested in. I think Thomson Reuters boasts about the fact that they have 95% of the global market cap, which is a lot of different exchanges that are available. And we pump that all through our software as well. So what I'm going to do is I did a daily scan. I could have set that up as a weekly or a monthly or even looked at 60-minute charts if I wanted to do real time. What I want to do is I'm just going to go ahead and click on this list that I saved. I'm going to go ahead and click on Secor Holdings, which was one of the ones that came out from the scan earlier. And I'm going to open it with this, what we call the CPS Bigelow chart view, which is just what that's going to do is that's going to apply all of Steve's indicators and moving averages and the stochastics for you. So what I'm just going to go ahead and open the chart here. And it went back into my exploration, but that's okay. Let's go ahead and switch back into MetaStock. And I'll just zoom in a little bit, and we did run a scan for the doji best friend. So everything that we kind of look at from this point on should have something that's actionable for us. In other words, we're not going to be looking at 3,000 stocks. We just want to find the ones that have opportunities and focus on the ones that we think are the best ones. So here we go. I'm going to go ahead and turn off the commentary for now. We'll come back into that. But you'll notice now we've got all of Steve's averages that he uses. We've got the stochastics on the settings that he likes. And you'll notice that we're identifying these patterns on a chart. So we've got doji best friend here. We've got a fry pan bottom. We have a cradle. We have the fry pan bottom back here. We kind of visually see a lot of the patterns work really, really well over time. We can go in and kind of see exactly what they're saying to us and see kind of visually how they look on the chart. In addition to that, the other thing that we did with this thing was we made it so that there's a commentary that's available that kind of helps you understand the product. So if you've only been a member of Steve's chat room for a couple months and you're not really sure what a doji best friend is, we tried to help by including the explanation of that particular pattern for you. So for example, if I just click on the view here and I go to expert commentary, it's going to go ahead, I'll open this up, and you'll see there's a little bit of a triangle right above today. And here's that doji best friend that we've got. And what it's basically going to do is it help us explain the positions. Traders should be alert for this opportunity to get into a new long position. A gap up after a doji or spinning top formation while prices are in an oversold area is an excellent alert. Expect the strength of the uptrend to be greater if the last bar closed above the 8 exponential moving average, which I think it did. I think that's the black line right here. And we're kind of giving you some advice on how you'd implement this thing. Because Steve's patterns are looking for rounded tops and fry pan bottoms and cradles and things like that, we wanted to include very specific criteria for you to tell you why we see this pattern on the chart so that you can kind of confirm it. And so in this particular case, we're saying the specific criteria that created this alert are A, this is happening, B, this is happening, C, this is happening, or D, this is happening. So we kind of give you that criteria so that as you're going through the stocks that come back on your list, you'll be able to see in real time what exactly you should do with the pattern, what created the pattern, and then we added enhancements to a lot of the patterns. In this case, we have 6 or 7 different patterns. What we want to know and what we want to understand is how how to pick the best scans or the best patterns out of our list of 6 so that we can kind of focus again on the opportunity. That's what I like to do. I like to focus on the stocks that have opportunities, which is why I love scanning. It allows me to kind of ignore everything else. But in this particular case, we want to look for things that are further away, below the 8 exponential, the T-line. So the further away the doji occurs below the 8 exponential moving average, the higher the probability a reversal has occurred. And the other enhancement that we would want to look at is if the day after the doji gapped up above the T-line and closes above the T-line, the higher probability. So those are 2 things that we could look at as quote-unquote enhancements to the trade. Okay. Now with this dialog box, it's totally movable. So if I wanted to come back here and I'm kind of doing a little bit of research and I wanted to see what it would say on a fry pan bottom, for example, all I had to do is just click on that fry pan bottom pattern. It's going to go back to that day, and it'll tell us exactly what that particular pattern is. Very, very good in terms of remembering kind of what the patterns are about and understanding how to implement them in your trading. Jim says, will it scan and make a list for the last 5 days or the last 3 days? That's actually not a bad idea, Jim. It'll just scan for the current day, though. So, yeah, it's always looking at the actionable stuff for today. That doesn't mean you couldn't go in there and run a scan for yesterday or the day before. If you wanted to find opportunities that happened yesterday, you absolutely could do that in real time. I thought I turned this Skype thing off. Let me go ahead and close it. But you would have to manually set that to scan for yesterday's patterns. The particular scan that we ran, let me go ahead and we'll go through it again real quick. In the exploration, there's a few different scans that are set up. So right here, this is the Doji Dynamite. And that when we run that scan, what we're going to be looking at for is Doji at the top, Doji Best Friend, the left-right bullish combo, the left-right bearish combo, the series of dojis. Now, if you wanted to, you could also select more than one scan. I could actually run all 4 scans at once and then run that against my CPS Universe scan. Just I'd click on Start Exploration here. Now, to answer the question about looking at a different time, if I just uncheck mark this box right here and put in the date that I want to scan for example, yesterday, I can actually look for all of the patterns that happened yesterday. Avanish asks a really good question. What MetaStock subscription package would enable what you're showing us? If you bought the indicator packages from Steve with his latest launch that he was doing, we actually included with that purchase the indicator packages. Either MetaStock DC or MetaStock RT is going to allow you to do either scan. So any of the versions of MetaStock that we offer have that scan in them. Les asks how quickly the scan's complete. We just ran this one. It took us 4 minutes and 2 seconds. If I paid attention at the very last second, it was just over 4 minutes. It depends on your internet connection because it pulls all the data when you request it. So generally speaking, though, my experience has been about 4 minutes. It does depend on yours. Prices above the Robert asked, prices above the 50-day SMA, which is usually bearish, but I see the stock takes off on these patterns. I guess scan pays no attention to price above. You could, Robert, actually our scans don't pay attention to whether or not it's above the 50-day or below the 50-day SMA, but that's actually something you could set up. It's very, very easy. And I think it would go beyond the extent of what we're talking about today, but it's a very customizable scan mechanism. You could go, okay, well, I want to scan first for all the stocks that are above its 50-day moving average, and then we'll scan for the buy patterns. That's pretty simple to do. Jim says that the speed will also depend on your CPU speed too, and that is definitely true. Usually the internet is going to be the biggest thing. Alex asked, can we scan other markets like AUD, JPY? Absolutely. So we select the scans that we wanted to right here. This would be CPS, Doji, Dynamite, JHook. And then all we would do down here, on the CPS universe that I created today, I just scanned the US optionable stocks, which is right here. So that's how I set up my CPS watch list. If I wanted to do a different market, I'd just go into Asia, for example, and I could scan all of the Australian securities just by clicking right there. Or if I wanted to do the JSX, which was your other question, you just find the actual name of the security right here. I think it's Kazakh, but I could be wrong. And you could add that to your scan as well. In this particular case, there's about 370,000 stocks and futures and Forex instruments you could scan against just by selecting the different exchanges that you're interested in. Now, depending on where you're at, if you're in Australia, obviously the ability to scan this against Australian stocks is very, very cool. If you're here in the US with us, you probably won't be too interested in Australian stocks, but definitely we have the coverage for whatever markets you're interested in. Gregory asked, can you scan different price ranges with the CPS universe? Yeah, actually, what we're looking at, the way I created the CPS universe was I actually said I wanted stocks that are closed above $5, and I forgot the exact criteria we used, but I could look at it real quick, and that have a moving average that is greater than 200,000. If you just change this number right here, this 5, you could do whatever kind of region, whatever kind of value you wanted. And this is an open scan, so you can go in and tweak it very, very easily. Cliff Jones says, my Power Console doesn't show the tick boxes to scan more than one title at a time. Cliff, I think you've probably got MetaStock 13 because we added the tree view to kind of keep things more organized in 14. I would encourage you to go ahead and upgrade to 14. It was a fantastic upgrade. But the other thing that you can do is, for you, if you held Control down while you select the different scans, that'll allow you to select multiple securities while you're scanning. Okay, that's how you would do it in 13. James asked a good question, and I'll go into a little bit more detail on this as we kind of get a little bit further along. How much does it cost? Our MetaStock end-of-day program is like $60 a month, $59 to be precise, and we'll let you do a free trial on it. It's worth every penny. I wouldn't trade without it. What is CPS? CPS stands for Candle Profit Systems. I always think Candle Power Systems, but it's Candle Profit Systems. It's the name of the product, of Steve's product.
Feeds from all the indexes, a lot more than a lot of the other software scanning programs. So if you're in Australia, if you're in Singapore, and you're trading those markets over there, MetaStock is the group you want to go with. They've got good graphics on their charts. They've got good scans. not only mine, but there's, I say mine because it is good, but they've got a lot of good scanning applications on their system. And Jeff, are you back?
I can use CPS anywhere. Yes, you can use CPS anywhere you want to. I'm glad the screen's back. Thanks for being patient, guys. I just lost connection for a few minutes. I wonder if it's our firewall here at work, but thanks for having me back. Now, I did see a question that came in that said I don't have the CPS scan set up in MetaStock, and it is something that you need to own. And if you bought all of the indicator packages, you definitely, if you bought the indicator packages from Steve with his launch that he did just a few weeks ago, it was included in those. There's also a way that you can purchase them directly, or you can purchase them from us, and I'll show you that in a minute. Alan, I actually really like thinkorswim. To be honest with you, I use their mobile application all the time. Where I think MetaStock really excels, and I actually have an account with TD Ameritrade as well. I said a little bit earlier that I wouldn't trade without MetaStock, and that's definitely true. I think the biggest thing that you're going to get is the ease of use with the scanning and the mining. There's certainly tons and tons of stuff that's available in MetaStock. It's a program that's designed more to help you find the right trades at the right time. It's not engineered to trade for you. It's not something that's going to replace your thinkorswim. I use both myself on a regular basis. I prefer MetaStock. I work for MetaStock. That makes sense and it's logical. But for a screening tool, to be able to run through every single stock in the market within 4 minutes and find just the ones that have Steve's patterns, I think that's where you're going to see the biggest thing. You have to remember, our focus isn't not on getting you to trade as much as we can. Our focus is to be able to help you find the right trades at the right time and understand them a little bit more. So I hope that helps you a little bit. Cliff asks, how do I upgrade to 14? We'd love to get you on 14. Just give us a phone call. Depending on your version and things like that, I'd recommend you chat in with one of our reps and talk to them a little bit. Tell them you're at the seminar tonight. But if you go to metastock.com, you can actually kind of chat in with one of our sales guys, and they can kind of explain pricing to you. It's relatively cheap and help you get set up for it. But is there a long learning period? Well, it's definitely a large tool, and depending on how far you want to go into the tool, like if you want to learn how to code and make your own scans and that kind of stuff, it can be a little bit larger than other people, but it is a toolbox. So if you understand kind of how to use the tools, it's going to be better. We have lots and lots of training videos. They're mostly 7 or 8 minutes each that'll help you understand how to use things in the program. And I think with kind of the training that we provide you, 30-day trial really be a good understanding. It'll give you enough time to understand the platform and understand if it's going to be helpful for you. Because if it's helpful for you, it's definitely going to be worth $60 a month. MetaStock is for, I hesitate to use the word research. It's really more for helping you with the timing and understanding what systems you should be using, Gregory. Thanks for the questions. James asked a good question. Are most scans for sale or free? We include a good number of scans in the program. Scans that will help you find basic candle patterns, not Steve's candle patterns, but also scans that will help you find out if the MACD is overbought or oversold. I think all in all there's around 50 or 60 scans that ship with the product, and plus the ability to kind of program yourself in there as well. It is, Jim asked, it is a standalone, separate trading platform. That's correct. Totally standalone. We're broker independent. You can use MetaStock with whatever broker you want. Our main focus is on helping you find the right trades at the right time. Now, kind of getting back a little bit, we have a lot of questions, but we did make that list of the CPS scans, and we looked at C-Core. And remember, we had a list of about 15, and the idea here is that we identify the ones that we want and kick out the ones that we don't. In this particular case, I actually kind of like this one, and it's worked really well with the patterns before. But now that I've saved those off to a list using my Power Console, all I had to do is click on the next one, and the next one is going to be Emerald Oil. it had a left-right bearish pattern today. I can take a look at that. I can see if I like this one. If I want to kick it out, I can immediately go to the next list. And again, what we're looking to do is save time. Wow, this is kind of an interesting stock. And focus on the stocks and the positions that are interesting to us. And that's really kind of the whole point of the software. Help you identify those particular stocks, find them easily. This stuff in terms of running the scan is super easy. Here's the scans I want to run. Here's the lists I want to run them against. Go do it. And within, in this case, 4 minutes, it brings it back to you. Mavis asks a really good question. How does MetaStock compare to TC2000? TC2000 is a great package. I'm not really one that you guys might be a little bit disappointed. I'm not really one that's going to sit here and kind of dog on our competitors and all that kind of stuff. TC2000 is a great package. I think where MetaStock kind of excels is the ease of use, the market coverage, in case you're in Australia, don't have access to TC2000. And I would say it also is, I'd say our core competencies is in our system testing and some of our power tools. I think it's a better product. And I'd say its unique advantages are in the tools that are built in. We have a forecasting module that's very, very cool, patent pending. We do have full market scanning, and it's a very, very easy to use platform. It has a lot of pre-built systems, so you can kind of test and see what ideas that you like. It's also really good at education, like you can see here. We're explaining what the patterns are and that kind of stuff. Bud asked, does it run on mobile Android? That's a good question. No, is the answer. Particularly with some of our power tools, we're doing a lot of statistical testing and statistical analysis. With our forecaster, for example, it would not run at all on an Android. This is just, Androids are, I love Androids, I love my Android, but we wouldn't be able to run everything we want to on an Android at this time. We are developing maybe the newer, we are developing with mobile in mind, and we may be able to take certain parts of it off to an Android, but right now it's not on an Android. Shore asked a question, what does the different colors of the candles represent? Well, we're highlighting when there's actual patterns. We have the standard, with this template, we have the standard red-green colorations. So if it's an up day, you're going to get, if the close is above the open, then you're going to get a green bar with a hollow candle. And if the close is below the open, then you're going to get a red bar. So those are kind of the standards. The only other colors you're seeing is when we have a pattern that shows up. So right here we have a doji best friend, and we've highlighted that and identified it as a blue one. Here we have a darker red bear kicker pattern, and we've highlighted that a different color, so it pops out a little bit more. So standard coloring unless you have a pattern, and then that just represents that you have some sort of a pattern on that particular day, which is then also identified by the doji best friend and the bear kicker. Rusty says, is it possible to scan for candlestick reversal signals approaching a breakout support and resistance levels or a new high, new low? Is it something that we'll still have to project on our own? There are some scans in there that do a pretty good job of identifying stocks that have broken through support and resistance. I love them, actually. If I click in here and I go to the Explorer, if I click on Explore, one of the scans that's actually built into here is actually called DT, and you can see I've run it recently, support and resistance. And this doesn't actually look for stocks that are nearing a support and resistance. It's actually looking for stocks that have broken through. But you could run that, and then you could run the results of that through a pattern system if you wanted to. That's definitely something you could do. John asked, what's the forecasting tool in MetaStock? Can we search ETFs? Yes, absolutely, MP. That's a great question. In fact, right here, if I go ahead, so you guys know, I only trade ETFs. I really, really enjoy ETFs. Lately, I've been doing just Dow stock, DIA, basically. I do options on DIA. But if you wanted to scan through the US ETFs, there's a whole list that just is the ETFs that are available for Dow. We actually haven't talked about the expense for, well, we've talked a little bit about the cost for MetaStock, and I'll go into that in a little bit more detail, but it starts about $59 per month. It actually, this year, won Reader's Choice Awards for, I think it was the 22nd year in a row, best software in its price category. This webinar, DIA, yeah, it's it's the Dow ETF. Which is just what I trade. I usually do about 5 puts or 5 calls at a time when I'm taking a position, and I've really been enjoying. I just started trading options back in September, and wow, it's a lot more fun than just trading DIA. So I usually do options on DIA when I do a trade, but that's just what I'm doing. We are recording this, Lee. Marvin asked, what is the forecaster tool in MetaStock? That's a good question. I did promise to talk about that a little bit, and I want to kind of show you it anyway. So here we had a big Doji best friend pattern, and on Feral Gas, PART. And I actually haven't kind of looked at this stock or kind of prepared for this, but to kind of show you a little bit about what the forecaster does, I'll just open it and kind of give you a real quick 5-minute demo of it. So I'm going to right-click on the forecaster analysis. It's going to open up a new charting mechanism, and this is kind of a statistical analysis tool. What it's looking at is it's looking at different events that have happened, like 52-week highs or candlestick patterns and that kind of stuff. And what it does is it goes back. It takes a little bit of time to run. You'll notice that it's running through a ton of calculations. But there's about 42 different events. While it's running, here are the events that are actually loaded in. And you'll notice I've got a lot of hand-drawn patterns that are in there. But it has some candlestick patterns. Every time any of these things occurred, like moving average 50 cross up, it looks at when those events happen and says statistically what happens after that event happens. So for example, if I come back in here to the forecast analysis for this stock, I'm going to sort this by the most events here. Okay? And the most things that have happened is right here, CCI got overbought. On this stock, a 52-week high, we had a candlestick, big black. And so these are just the events. Right now I'm just looking at CCI events. So there's a CCI overbought condition here and here. And this just determines where those actually happened on the chart, CCI overbought. What the program does is it's looking at every time that happens on the chart and trying to see if there's a statistical significance for price movement afterwards. I hope I do a pretty good job of explaining this in 5 minutes or less. So in other words, every time this CCI pattern happens, 7 days after, with a 95% probability, it appears to be slightly lower, 1.25%. 14 days after, it appears to be 2% lower. 2% lower, and it kind of looks at all of these numbers for all of those probabilities, and it tries to kind of generate what we would call a forecast cloud for what that stock is likely to do because that event happened. So if I click on the forecast cloud right here, it kind of gives me a statistical heat map, if you would. Over here we've got probability settings, and this isn't really that great of a pattern. I'll explain why. It's looking at this, all this blue area is a 30% statistic thing, which is almost an anomaly. Here, after the pattern, you have kind of like a 50% kind of thing. But what we're really looking at is we're looking for stuff that has a little bit more of a heat map. So what this tells me is even though CCI happened a lot on this particular chart, it's not very statistically significant on the chart. So in fact, if I went in here and plotted this on the chart, it actually did a pretty good job of mapping that out. In other words, it said it was likely to fall, it fell, but we just don't have a lot of statistical heat to it. What I would usually do is actually come in here and look for trend surge patterns, and I'd look for a heavier chart. Like this one's a lot better. You'll notice you have a lot more heat. This dark red area is 80% to 90%, so this is a pattern that I'd like quite a bit more. I use this more as a confirmation in my trade. Now I could come in here, I could overlay that particular chart and kind of see how it compared to the actual overlying price trend on here. And it's a very, very cool tool to kind of use as a confirmation tool. That's primarily what I use it for. I'll look at the different trades. If I'm trying to make a decision, I can actually come in here and say, okay, well, what are we seeing as kind of likely price point based on what's going on in it. The other thing that I really like about the forecaster that they just added with 14 is I can come in here and say, well, we've had a scoop pattern. So I could say, well, I kind of like that pattern. Let me kind of draw that pattern. I could come in here and I could actually say, draw a new pattern. I could say every time it does something like this, take a statistical heat map and tell me how that looks. And I could do that, and I could redraw the forecast and things like that. It's a very cool tool to play with. What I usually do is I say, okay, well, I like this kind of pattern. I'm going to take it straight off of the chart. In other words, this whole little V pattern, what I want to do is I want to actually kind of draw a circle around kind of just this much of it. I'm going to say I want to define this as a pattern, and I click on yes. It draws it for me, and I have kind of that scoop that we were looking for. I can name it. I'm going to call this today. I'm going to name it A today, right? So I can find it at the top of my list. But then I can kind of say, okay, here, I can kind of set sensitivities. I'm going to set it to low, so there's some examples that I can show you. And I'll go ahead and save this. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to, something's iffy. I'll save that. Okay. Here's my A today. I'm going to turn off all the other patterns just so I don't have to run the rescan. I'm going to select just this today pattern for this stock. I'm going to rescan it. And visually what it's going to do is it's going to kind of show me with the same event markers that we had before every time that that particular formation has happened on the chart. So here if I hover over it, you'll see kind of a blue line and a red line. And that just basically they match because that's exactly the pattern that we just took. But I can kind of see kind of how closely they match, and I can see what happened to the price afterwards visually without even doing the pattern analysis. So I can say, okay, here we kind of had that pattern, here we kind of had that pattern, and I can even, without doing the statistical analysis, see what it's likely to do afterwards. In this particular case, I wouldn't say there's a lot of statistical likelihood, but I also do have the forecast cloud, and I can draw that on the chart as well. It's a very, very cool tool. I enjoy using it for confirmation. And when I draw it on the chart, this is kind of a weird anomaly. We have a very statistical high probability that the stock's going to be right in this area between the 15th and the 8th and the 22nd of April, which is kind of interesting. Anyway, that's the forecaster in 10 minutes or less. Jim's like, the forecaster looks fascinating. I'm glad you like it. Again, I use it mostly for confirmations, and it's been pretty good. I like that ability to draw the last 5 patterns. Like the Dow, we had a huge rundown today, and I just said I trade Dows. I've been in puts for a couple of days, and I'll take just the last few days of that abnormal price, and what you'll notice is it's actually comes back with some pretty good advice a lot of the times. But I would say for the most part, I use it as a confirmation tool. I've already kind of got a good idea of what I want to do before I go into the forecaster generally. Howard asked a good question, and I noticed how long I've gone. So I'm gonna. But can Fibonacci points between highs and lows be shown on charts? I use Fibonacci's all the time. Over here, you're going to have all of your drawing tools, and this rotates around. So if I wanted to do a Fibonacci level, I usually use retracements and or the projections and not the retracements. But yeah, absolutely. You just click on what you want. Go ahead and mark it out on the chart. The way I use fib numbers, and then you kind of have your Fibonacci levels for that move. The way I use it is a little bit different. If I was looking to go, not to say that this is the right way to use it, this is just the way I use it. If I was looking to go long here because of this doji best friend, what I would be looking for is a percentage off of this move right here. And the projection is great to do that, because what you'll do is you just come in here, and I'd want to go from this low to this high. And I'd want to project it from this low. And then I can say, okay, well, now in this move, we've already reached almost 50% of this previous upkick. So it helps me kind of set up the targets in my mind. But that's just how I use it. But yeah, absolutely. To answer your question, you can do Fibonacci projections, retracements. They have time zones. We have a full arsenal of drawing tools that are available for you. Let's go ahead and just talk a little bit. I know Steve is going to talk, and I don't want to cut into his time at all. So let's go ahead and kind of cut to the chase here real quick and turn the time back over to him. I'm extremely proud of this product. The fact that we released it and a couple of years later it's already winning awards in stocks and commodities just makes me so happy. We put a lot of time into it, and for those of you that bought the indicators through the packages and the promotions, it's included. You can go into, I think, your download section of the Candlestick forum site and download them. They're included for free. You might as well try MetaStock as part of that because we'll give you a free trial. This is just in case I lose internet and things. The cost for just the MetaStock scans, and so if you already have the scans, what you want to do is go ahead and download them. You can sign up for a free trial of MetaStock at metastock.com/candlestick forum. Okay. If you still need to purchase the scans, we have a special offer that's available. They're normally $3.99. You can get them at $2.99 as part of the special promo. And again, if you already bought the Thinkorswim or the TradeStation indicators, you just need to download them and sign up for your trial here. But if you need to purchase Candle Profit systems for MetaStock, go ahead to this web address. It'll allow you to go ahead and watch a 15-minute video that I put together on Candle Profit systems, and it'll allow you to at the same time sign up for your free trial of MetaStock End of Day or MetaStock Pro. MetaStock End of Day is about $59 a month. It's actually not End of Day anymore. It's MetaStock DC is what we call it because we decided End of Day didn't sound right since we're pushing data into it every hour. And MetaStock RT starts at about $250. Per month, and it includes all kinds of news and information and things like that. Everything that I showed you today can be used in either version of the program. So if you're doing a free trial, you might want to try out the real-time version so you can kind of play with that. And then you're going to get access to the Thomson Reuters product. We call it MetaStock Zenith, but it's a really cool news product that you can look at as well while you're doing your free trial. That's what I had to say today. I actually appreciate all of you guys' time. The price for MetaStock, Gary, is $59 per month. Gary, this is the system that we designed initially for MetaStock. MP, you can either contact us here in the U.S. Or in Australia. We have quite a few resellers down in Australia. You're definitely welcome to reach out to them. They're good guys. I work with them all the time. So, and they know a lot about MetaStock, so you can reach out to them either way. Hugh asked, what about currencies? We have a great currency feed. It's probably one of the most deep. We get our bank fee, or we get our bank data from, I think Reuters collates it from about 800 banks. So you're not just seeing what kind of is going on with your broker, you're seeing the whole market, and that's available as well. Tybor, that's a great question. If you want the CPS Universe scan, you can just drop me a message. I've got a little bit of a file that I'll just send over to you. Here's my email address again, Jeffrey.Gibby, R-E-Y, the proper spelling in Jeffrey. There's no more Jeffreys here. Drop me a message, I'll send it to you. Version 9 to 13 is, oh, you're going to quiz me here, is cheap. It's $200 for the upgrade. And that gets you from 9, which is 20 years old, to the latest and greatest. So, Jim asked a great question. If you bought the Thinkorswim system, we made an arrangement with Steve that we would just give you the MetaStock version for free. So that's already included. You just what I would recommend that you do is install the MetaStock from the trial, and then just download it from their websites or from their website. Bill asked a question about 14, but I don't understand the question. How about 14? Is what he asked. 14 was awesome. People love it. It's probably been one of our most successful upgrades that we've had. for about as long as I can remember. People are loving it. The feedback is awesome. You should definitely try it. It's nice to see kind of the work that we're doing now that we're not, now that we've got all of our programmers really focused on MetaStock and not doing a lot of projects for Thomson Reuters. The version 14 upgrade, if you have an older version of MetaStock, if you have 13, I think it's like $79 now. If you have an older version, like anything earlier than that would be like $129, I believe. Now for that, I would recommend that you contact one of our sales guys who can give you an exact and a precise price. Version 11, I believe, is $129, but don't quote me on that. If my screen went blank. Version 11 upgrade GM is at $129. Interestingly, I've lost connection like 4 times tonight. Well, yeah, sounds like a great time to bring on Steve. Steve?
Thank you, Jeff. Everybody, MetaStock is probably one of the best scanning softwares you're going to come across. Somebody asked a question, what was the difference between TCNet and MetaStock? The difference is TCNet does U.S. stocks. That's about it. MetaStock does Canadian stocks, European stocks, Asian stocks. It does the currencies. It does the commodities all on one chart system. You don't have to go elsewhere to look for your currency quotes, that sort of thing. It's probably one of the most comprehensive scanning softwares that you're ever going to come across. And once you have it set up and you're running it, it's so easy to operate that, as Jeff says, you don't want to trade without MetaStock on the scanning basis. So with that, Jeff, thank you very much. Enjoy having you here because I enjoy the MetaStock charts and I like the scans that it does. Makes everything very simple. So now, trying to do simplicity, I'll see if I can bring my charts up. Oh, here goes the projector. Projector. Well, if that ain't a fine howdy-do. Okay, hold on for a second. I've got to do this. I've got to bring up the projector in the options room. There we go. All right, then the projector comes up over here. Okay, as soon as I can get this up and running, which should be any second now, we can show what kind of the advantage of the candlestick signals do for us as far as projecting what we think the market's going to do based upon what the historic results are from candlestick signals, obviously. Oh, projecting. Yahoo! All right, Jim, do you need to reset your... Ooh. All right.
We're okay with the recorder, Steve. Go ahead.
Okay, good. All right, as we saw today, we had a doji day. And where did this occur? Right at the same level we had the Morningstar signal just a couple weeks ago. So what are the analysis or the conclusions that we can come from this? Well, first of all, we know the very simple rule of a doji, that the trend will usually move in the direction how they open it after a doji. So we can, and so this isn't telling us what the market's going to do. This is telling us what the market's going to do based upon what we know should happen after a candlestick signal. So if we know the simple rule of the doji is that the price is usually going to move in the direction of how they open it, makes it very simple. If we wake up tomorrow and the pre-market futures are positive, that pretty much tells us this day of indecision right on the support level is telling us this is where the bottom is, that we're heading back up. How far are we heading back up? Well, we got to fight back through the moving averages, or if this is kind of a wedge formation forming, we start watching to see what it does once it gets to this level. On the other hand, if it opens lower, if we wake up and the pre-market futures are lower, what can we expect? Kind of a doji sandwich, which means the magnitude of tomorrow could be the same magnitude as yesterday, which means they could pretty much take it all the way down to the 200-day moving average, which would kind of coincide with drawing a line right through the bottoms here of this trend channel. That would be the target. Down channel, yeah, down, well, yeah, but you're already there. Pretty much you could probably, let's see if you could pretty much draw a parallel line from here to about here. I mean, that's pretty well parallel. They may have touched it. So it'll be pretty obvious of which way they're planning to take the market based upon how they open it. Now, on the other index, the NASDAQ, notice what they did with this one today. They opened it right here at the 50 and started trading positive. Now, again, the advantage of the visual aspects of candlesticks gives you a whole different perspective as far as what was happening today. Most people, when they hear on the news that the NASDAQ was down 13, the market's still selling off. On a candlestick basis, we can see that they weren't selling off today. They were actually buying after it opened. This is a MetaStock chart, yes. And this is what you can do with MetaStock charts. If I want to make this bigger, I just make it bigger. If I want to make it fatter, I can make it fatter instantly just to see what I'm looking at from here. Or, yeah, in my case, because I'm hard of seeing, I usually like to try to make the screen as big as possible. So with that aspect to it, there was still some charts out there that looked very good even in today's down market. I hate when I do that. We've had a lot of people in the chat room following VBLT. Even though it traded lower today, it's still above this T-line, which still makes this an uptrending 45 degree after the breakout. Notice your doji bullish confirmation. Why is the last candle white inside? A bullish candle is where it opens here and closes here. A dark candle is where it opens here and closes here. Now, depending on what you want to do with your charts, you could make this a green candle and this a red candle, or you make these white candles and black candles. Back one chart. I forget what we just did. Oh, we do the, was that the NASDAQ? Oh, this one? Why is the last candle white inside? This one, Gary? Yeah, essentially, this is where it opened today. And this is where it closed. So this is an immense amount of information that is built into candlestick signals. why not green? Because on these charts I just make it white or red. It's, again, you can make it whatever color you want. I originally started out with candlesticks where I made the white ones, the bullish candles white, and the dark candles black. And then some charts you can make red for bearish, green for bullish. It all depends on what you want to look at. Around Christmas time, I change them to red and green. Would the gap have to open below the tail or above the tail, or just the... Oh, the gap down was it closed here yesterday, and then they gapped it down and opened here. So that was a gap down. But as you can see, they brought it back up. And where did they bring it back up? They brought it back up above the 50. So this makes it much easier to interpret what's going on. Were they selling off this market today? Not necessarily. They opened lower, and the NASDAQ, they were still buying at the end of the day. Since the close is still lower than the previous close, it's a red candle. No. Remember, the candles are formed by it opening here and closing here. This candle opened here and closed up here, so it creates a white candle. Remember, it doesn't mean that the price was up or down on the day. It's telling you what happened after the open, which is a lot more information than just looking at a bar chart or a line chart. It's essentially telling you that when they opened down here, they were buying after the open and closing up here. Okay, Gary. Red border. Oh, no. The borders, oh, that might be. Because, yeah, I didn't notice that. I'm colorblind, especially with red and green, which makes it pretty bad when you're driving and there's a stop sign in the trees. Out at all the middle. Open, low, close, high. Yes. Yeah, you've got better eyes than I do. They all look the same. I just interested in a. So you can make these any color you want, I think. Yeah, that was the up day. That was the down day. Anyway, you can make these any colors that you want to in here. I think even if you wanted to change the colors, you've got a whole slew of them. Whoops! I got to figure out what I just did. Anyways. All right, so yeah, don't get lost in the colors. Really, the only thing that you're really interested in is the body and the either a bullish candle or a bearish candle. Okay, so I'm going to just go through some of the charts that look interesting. CNAT. 10. Well, shuzzbuds. There we go. Okay, that one is wrong. This actually opened up here and closed down here. Okay. And I've got to change that. So this actually opened up here and closed down here. Now, the message was it opened here the day before and closed here and gapped up here and started trading off. But what was the message? The message was they were anxious to get in here and then it was profit taking. The message is they were anxious to get in here. So now what we're watching for is that the selling has stopped and they start taking it up. When they start taking it back up, remember, this gap up was a very strong, powerful signal that a lot of people are trying to get in with great enthusiasm. This is my first session. Mavis, we have this open on Thursday nights for everybody, and we have it here. Let me do this just so we get rid of the confusion. Hold on for a second. We'll bring up charts that yeah, I'm sorry, I got sidetracked here. Thursday nights are open to everybody. We do this also on Monday nights with our specific stocks and what the commodities are doing, what the currencies are doing. And then the chat room is open during trading hours. And that's where you get, if you're trying to learn candlesticks, that's where you can accelerate your learning process dramatically, because you've got people in there that not only are coming up with good charts that they've done on their scans, but you also have, if you have a question, I'm usually around where if I see a question that nobody else is answering correctly, I'll come in and answer it. But more than likely, there's a lot of people in there that can answer the questions for you. So the analysis of the charts gets a lot quicker in your mind's eye. All right, so there's the that was the NASDAQ. And what were we looking at? Oh, we were looking at CNAT. That opened up here and closed down here. This is still a good trade. All we have to do is see when the profit taking is over and they start taking it back up. Yeah, so yeah. Now, unfortunately, this has got good charting, but this is CQG that doesn't have any scanning capabilities. So, and unfortunately, they're about $1,000 a month. Another one that we're watching, and this is why we want to see what the candlestick signals are telling us. This is Cyber. The reason we're interested in Cyber is look what the first move was coming out of this fry pan bottom. It broke out on a kicker type signal up through the resistance level of the 50-day moving average and the beginning of the fry pan bottom. And look what the results were. This stock went from 35 to 70 in about 2 weeks. What do we know about human nature? Is that they usually will pull it back, and notice what's happening right in here. We've had a morning star signal. We've had a kicker signal. And today we use we had a piercing signal. Stochastics are coming up. We can see where the resistance level is. So this makes it very simple. If they close probably above the 20-day moving average, we're in wave 3. So why is this interesting to trade? Because if it breaks out here into wave 3 is usually the same magnitude as wave 1. There could be another 35 points to the upside. Yes, I use whatever the big MetaStock software is. Is this part of a subscription? Oh, no, this is maybe that's what we usually do on Thursday nights. I usually do the session on Monday nights. We go through strictly on candlesticks. Then during the day, I'll come in 2 or 3 times. Usually come in about an hour and 15 minutes in the morning, analyzing charts, seeing what the market is doing, what some of the commodities are doing. And then on Thursday nights, it's open to everybody. And then usually once a week, we've got about 40 or 50 training videos on candlesticks on our website. But as a member, you can either buy them at a discount and or, for last night, for example, we did a training session on the basics of options, how to use options. Very fundamental or very basic. What time are your sessions during the day? Well, the room is open all day long. You start having people come in around 45 minutes before the market opens, start throwing ideas around. I'll usually put out comments text-wise right after the open, or if I see something opening up correctly before the open. And then I usually come in around 11 o'clock Eastern time, sometimes 12 o'clock, right in the middle range when everything has settled down. And then we go for about an hour or so analyzing charts. And then I'll come in maybe once or twice during the day if I see something interesting. And then I'll come in for 30 minutes at the end of the day. But the whole process is so that you can be analyzing charts, and every time I describe, and remember, the benefit we have with candlestick signals is it puts you in a visual analysis of what's going on in human nature. And that's the most reoccurring indicator in the world, most reoccurring indicator in the world is human emotions. Prices do not move based upon fundamentals. Prices move based upon the perception of fundamentals, and all we're doing with candlestick signals is looking at the graphic depiction of what's going on in investor sentiment. Oh, let's see. No, I'm not on the delayed version of MetaStock. I'm on the live. Oh, yeah, but that's usually because I'm moving my cursor around faster than I'm talking. So anyways, we've had 3 buy signals in here. Notice how it's flattening out. We're just waiting for it to break out to the upside. And when it does, this is another benefit of candlesticks, is if you're an option trader, it gives you the perfect timing of when something is breaking out after a candlestick buy signal so that you're not having to sit. Now, I've been in this once and got back out. I'm ready to get back in. Now, I don't mind getting in and getting back out because it didn't work. That's the nice thing about candlesticks also, is that it tells you when to get in and tells you when to get right back out. The old advice that most investor managers will give you is cut your losses short and let your profits run, but they never tell you how to cut your losses short. Candlestick signals tell you if this is a signal that tells you the bulls are taking control, it shouldn't close more than halfway down this candle. Got back out when it closed down here. Now I'm ready to get back in once I see it break out. Now, the reason I want to see something break out is, for example, we were recommending going short on ARIM today if it opened lower. But as you can see, it opened higher and moved this way. So we didn't get in and didn't confirm that they were selling this one off. What did you do with Wednesday night option web? Oh, Bill, if you just email Abraham at Candlestick Forum, he can give you the link to it. So not only do the candlestick signals tell you what your probabilities are, but it also gives you excellent entry and exit strategies. Common sense says if this is heading down, we should see it open lower. If it opens higher, we've got an entry strategy. We don't get in if it opened higher unless it comes back down through that close. Because if it opened here and started down, what type of candle would it be forming? Still another dark candle. All right, now, the ones that we were buying, even when this market was trading off over the last couple of days, was the oils. We recommended LPI, because notice the pattern. This is your fry pan bottom. This is one of your strongest patterns because it's basically telling you investor sentiment is building up. And remember, candlestick signals are the accumulative knowledge of everybody buying and selling, which means if this pattern is still forming, when the market was doing this, crunching, that pretty much tells you they didn't give a hoot. They were buying based upon something different than what the market was doing. In this case, it was knowing that the crude oil prices also were bottoming out and doing a fry pan bottom scoop type pattern. So crude oil has moved from the $45 range back up to the $51, $52 range over the last few days, which meant all those oil stocks that were oversold are starting to bounce back. We've been recommending CPE for the last few days because notice the doji sandwich. A doji sandwich is very simple to identify. A bullish day, then a doji. And our simple rule of a doji is the price is usually going to move in the direction of how they open after a doji, which meant when it opened positive, we knew that this candle right here would probably be the same magnitude as this candle right here, And notice what started this uptrend. A bullish engulfing signal right smack dab off the 50-day moving average, and with continued move to the upside. What was that telling us? That was telling us that this flat area right here was now creating a scoop pattern, which would give us a slingshot effect to the upside. The scoop pattern is one of the 6 or 7 price patterns that are easily identified visually, and they usually produce good results, meaning a very strong price move coming out of it. We're still long in WLL as a long-term pick. The other day they came out saying that they were going to be putting out a new stock offering, which was priced at 30. And you can see once it opened that day, they were buying. We started buying because where's the likely target? Back up here at least to the 50-day moving average. So even on an option trade, that's going to produce a very good return. Too late to enter the oil stocks now? No. All you have to do is watch what crude oil is doing. And right now, crude oil pretty much looks like in today's trading, after that, there's a doji sandwich also breaking up above the T-line. They didn't stop at the 50. This is after hours trading. It's down 35 cents. But all we know right now is if they can break this downward trend channel, there's some good upside. And if there's good upside in crude oil, remember, prices move based upon human perceptions. That means all these stocks, NOG, did a doji sandwich today. Where's the next likely target? They could take this all the way back up to the 200-day moving average, giving you about a 70% return. Sean, that's true too. But if elephants could fly, they'd be damn big birds. So the ifs are already built in. If we can analyze that crude oil prices are going up, then we want to be buying the oil stocks. And so we did CPE. EPE. Another one. This is our most favorite trade setup. Notice how we've come up. We had that left-right combo. Left-right combo is your doji followed by a bullish engulfing signal. Very simple. That tells you there's going to be a strong uptrend. Then we have a doji type day right smack dab at the 50. And notice that we've already broken this downward trend channel after a buy signal, the trend channel being the T-line. We did a left-right combo on an inverted hammer type signal at the T-line. And now we have a doji right at the resistance level. Stochastic still heading up. This makes for a perfect trade. If this opens positive tomorrow, what do we know? We know we're probably going to have a doji sandwich, which means it could move up this far. Two, it's telling us that the 50 is not acting as resistance anymore. And 3, there might be extra power to this because you know everybody and their brother is watching to see what this does at the 50. If they break through, they're all going to come piling in. We're going to be piling in if it opens positive. We don't need to wait to see if they're starting to trade it higher. We know that if they open it positive after a doji, they're going to trade it higher. March's low point, yeah, it doesn't matter what the fundamentals are because that's already built into all the charts. The charts are the accumulative knowledge of everybody buying and selling during a particular time frame. Not too much difference between a doji and a spinning top. All it means is a spinning top has a little bit bigger body than a doji, and it still represents the same thing. There's indecision between the bulls and the bears. Some other good charts you want to be looking at. Klein, Clean Air Energy. There's a nice fry pan bottom. It did a doji sandwich type trade today. And notice what it also did. It used the T-line as support, which basically told you with a doji sandwich, fry pan bottom, and notice where the fry pan bottom started? Right smack dab on the 50-day moving average. The benefit we have is that we know that the moving averages act like magnets, and that's what everybody uses around the world to make their decisions. We can see exactly what their decisions were at those times. So we're buying early after everybody else is now getting confirmed, and they're starting to come in, adding to our profitability. We know there's a doji sandwich, and what do we know about the results of a doji sandwich? That there's going to be more upside. So where's the next likely target? Probably the 200-day moving average, which would coincide with this uptrending channel. OVAS is the perfect setup also that you had the breakout, and this is the reason we recommended it the other day. When it started going positive, what were we going to have? We were going to have a doji sandwich that told us that this level right here wasn't going to act as resistance, and they popped it big. They pulled it back, and today they did a doji, which makes this very simple. Where did they consolidate to? Right back to the T-line. If this opens positive tomorrow, you want to be buying, because this is one of those charts also that have a magnitude percentage move that looks, I can make this small enough, pretty much looks like this, that it moved from the, whatever this level is, 1520 up to the 55 level. The next move could be pretty close to up to the $100 range. Yeah, hang on to your individual stocks. I wasn't going to do that because I knew it would be keeping everybody late. We are late tonight. I'll try to rush through some of these. So anyways, the reason we're going after this one is it broke out through wave 2. It did it with very strong buy signals. There's your doji hammers, left-right combo, which is a very strong move. A doji sandwich broke through this level. Now it's consolidated. If it starts heading up, we've got the potential of another 40 points to the upside. There's going to be charts out there that look good on a stock that might move 4%, but there's also charts out there that look good for stocks that might move 40%. Obviously, that's the ones we're going to be looking for. A left-right combo is a doji, followed by the bullish engulfing signal. That was one of the major signals that they have on the scans for MetaStock. And it's a very powerful reversal signal. I've quantified the signals and patterns. And the top one is your best friend, which is a doji in the oversold condition, followed by a gap up. The next one is your left-right combo, a doji followed by a bullish engulfing signal. Let's see. Now, the reason you use the T-line is because when you close below the T-line, I told you you have good downside potential. The probabilities are against you when you close below the T-line. You want to get out. The worst case scenario is it turns around and comes back up. You can always buy back. But if you see a candlestick sell signal, in this case, look at the doji sandwich, bearish doji sandwich to the downside, should have been closed out here because this is what you could get caught in the next day, and that's exactly what you don't want to be in. Those long tails, the long tails me to know like to spiky like small tails less volatile. I don't know what that means, but the tails tell you information though. Yeah, Marvin, hold on to your individual stocks. I'll get to all of them. Should I buy your flashcards for fast retention? Mavis, people have. One of my first private training sessions that I did in Houston, somebody flipped up a flashcard, and I'm thinking, where the heck did you get that? It was a flashcard of one of the signals. I'm thinking, dang Jiminy Christmas, Steve Nissan has put out another product ahead of me. And they said, no, this is yours. I just made it off your stuff. So I never used flashcards when I was in school, but then again, I wasn't that good in school. But people like the flashcards, so yes, you can do them. There's a morning star signal, smack dab off the 50-day moving average and a close above the T-line. If it opens positive tomorrow, this is PTX. It's breaking this little downtrending channel. wave one. Notice where wave one came from, out of a fry pan bottom, strong price move, and this is part of the profit-taking process. The Japanese rice traders always make it very simple. Where do most people buy? They buy exuberantly at the top. So if you're in the overbought condition and they're gapping it up, there's two things that you do. If it opens up and starts trading higher, you put your sell stop at where it opened, because if it comes back down through there, more than likely you're going to create some sort of sell signal. If it opens up and immediately starts trading off, you put your sell stop at the previous day's close, because if they can come all the way back down through there, that tells you that the bears have now taken control. Are you going to give a webinar on options? Oh, Dan, we did that last night for members. Let's see. All right. So right now, we're looking to buy, because where is it supporting? You can see that everybody and their brother is buying when it bounces up off the 50-day moving average. We've recommended bought here for the last couple weeks, because there's your strongest signal, a kicker signal. And how long do you own this one? You stay long until you see a candlestick sell signal and a close below the T-line. Remember, just because it trades below the T-line, you still want to see it close there. All this did was consolidate today. You still want to stay long on bought. We're recommending, or still buying, W-wave. This is what you call the slow curve pattern, different than the fry pan bottom. The fry pan bottom is usually bigger and coming out. And notice how the fry pan bottom broke out? Right where the pattern started, they gapped it through. And what did that tell you? That this buildup of energy was now going to create a very strong price move. What happened here? Profit taking. Then we had our Morningstar signal. We had our left-right combo. We started back up. We had kind of a doji sandwich breakout. That's telling us that this is wave one, wave two, going into wave three, the same magnitude as this wave right here. John, you'll have to email Abraham at candlestickforum.com. I don't know where they are because I never look for them. Let's see, what else we got here? Oh, we recommended SN. There's that fry pan bottom. There's that breakout of this level. There's that doji. Tells us very simply, if they open this positive tomorrow, you want to be buying, because you'll have a doji sandwich starting wave three. There's your wave one right here. Again, this is not rocket science. This is just graphically watching what human nature does time after time. Chicago Bridge, fry pan bottom. If it opens positive, we know they're probably going to take it right up to the 200-day moving average. INFA. This is what usually happens. Whoops, get rid of that thing. Coming out of a fry pan bottom, you start getting some whipsaw, and usually the whipsaw finally ends up with a big price move to the upside. White wave must be one of those food stocks. I think it's probably because of anytime you see one get bought out in an industry, that means the other ones start becoming targets, because somebody's thinking, oh, this must be a good industry. So watch INFA. We also recommended FMSA. There's your scoop pattern. This is what we're expecting coming out the other side, is that slingshot effect, which usually has a big, strong price. How long do you hold it? Until you see a sell signal and a close back below the T-line. Now, on the other side, if this market opens weaker tomorrow, you always want to have a game plan. Look at what Netflix did. Came up to the 50 and failed with a bearish engulfing signal, and then today a doji. Makes this very simple. If they open this lower, you've got a doji sandwich that's breaking the support level. It's going to probably have a magnitude move like this. So they're going to come well down below the support level, which means now we're in a bearish J-hook pattern that could probably take us so that if this is wave one, wave three to the downside could take you all the way down here to fill that gap. Somebody was asking the other day, don't all gaps get filled? They certainly do, but maybe not on the trend that we're buying. It might be the reverse trend that we're starting to short to come back and fill that gap. A gap could be filled in 2 days, 2 weeks, 2 months, 2 years. Someday it'll probably be, that gap will be filled. Amazon, same scenario. Whoops. Left-right combo, doji today. Look where the doji is, right here on the resistance level. If they open it lower tomorrow, where's your likely target? Down here to the 50-day moving average. Why? Because if you're a buyer of Amazon, and you're an institutional buyer of Amazon, where do you think you're going to wait to see if it supports? Back at the 50. That's why the major moving averages pretty much act like magnets. We also recommended yesterday shorting QCOM because look what it did. It was failing with little dojis up here. This downtrend started with that big belt hold piercing signal. And again, they gapped it up and took it right back down, and then the next day they took it down below the T line. This is telling us they're taking it down. Now, they did a bullish day today. To close out the short position would be if it opens positive and starts trading positive, we know the bounce is going to be at least up to the T line. If it opens lower tomorrow, you can still be shorting it because now that tells you we're coming down to that target. This afternoon you gave rules about if the market went up and the stock went up. Oh, okay, that's your entry strategy. Let's find one here. Let me get through the shorts and I'll come back to that. Just the quadrants of the entry strategies. Score is another one that if it opens lower after yesterday's bearish engulfing signal and today's doji, if it opens lower, it's going right down to the 50-day moving average. SSNI, same scenario. Big bullish engulfing signal. If it opens lower, it's going to the 50-day moving average. Doji sandwich, the magnitude of this candle and this candle will probably be about the same. We were long MIC the other day, but now if this opens lower, this one was closed out. Anytime you see it close below the T-line after a candlestick sell signal, you close it out. We were buying based on the fry pan bottom slow curve breakout, but when they closed back below the T-line, that pretty much told us that this was not working. Get back out of this trade. Now, if this opens lower tomorrow, same magnitude move as this, probably takes us right down to the 50. Same thing with BBSI. It had good potential until it closed below the T-line, and now it's doing a doji sandwich potential. And notice why it's got the potential. If it opens lower, what did it do today? It came right back up to the T-line and used the T-line as a resistance level. If they open this lower, look for it to come back down to this level or basically the 50. Yeah, Robert, if the futures are positive tonight, it doesn't mean a whole lot. The only time the futures mean a big deal is about 5 minutes before the market opens. That way you know what all the big boys are doing right before the open. Lumber liquidators was one that we had shorted based upon this kicker signal. Then we covered our short on this day because where were we? We were in the oversold area and we were trading positive after a doji, which told us they were probably bringing it back up to at least the T-line, so we closed out the short position. They popped it up on earnings, but notice what they did today. They took it back down below the T-line, which tells me if this opens lower tomorrow, you still short it because this downtrending channel is probably still in progress. They're going to be selling it off. Oh, we did that one. Okay, so which one am I? Oh. CPE. There's 4 quadrants for buying stocks or not buying stocks. The first quadrant is if we were looking for a positive open on this one, which would continue our scoop pattern. If we woke up tomorrow and the pre-market futures were trading up, the Dow's futures were up 60 points, and the stock was opening higher, we'd probably I'd buy within the first minute or two. All we'd want to do is see that they opened and they were still buying after the open. On the other hand, if the market opened positive tomorrow and this opened lower, I wouldn't buy it until it came back up through the close of today, because that would tell me there was just profit taking on the open and then the buyers stepping back in, which is exactly what I would expect from this move. Or the third quadrant is the market opens lower and the stock opens higher. I'll just wait around to see if they're still buying it, even though the market's trading off, or whether it's just kind of soggy because the market's selling off. I'll just wait to see when the buying comes in. And then quadrant number 4 is if the market opens lower and the stock opens lower, that means you probably don't want to be buying at all. So this is not, I mean, as you can see, that's not a very sophisticated program, but it's all just common sense as far as when to come into a stock position. Okay, I think that's about all I've got. So let's see. I wasn't going to do this, but go ahead, Jim. Do the double line, and we'll take some individual ones. What are you doing? Okay. Okay. All right. We'll do a few here just to kind of, again, this is the type of analysis we do usually on Monday night. And how are you able to see all these stock potential stocks at right beginning of the market? Olivia, very simple. If you've got the scans set up, I usually have a little watch list on the side of the charts. And if I see something, if I'm looking at those stocks to see how they're opening, if all of a sudden I see ABC opening positive, pretty strong, I'm going to look at that chart right away to see that it's confirming the bullish signal that I had scanned for. Again, I'm looking for especially a bullish signal with a gap up coming out of the oversold condition. Those are going to be your strongest ones. So once you set up your scans, you can go, I've got about 2,750 stocks in the universe. There's 87 or 8,800 trading entities out there, but I make my universe stocks that are trading more than 200,000 shares a day and usually greater than $5. And the reason I want to trade stocks greater than $5 is because I know every time I put on a trade, the probabilities, based on candlestick analysis, is that the probabilities are in my favor, and I want to get as much leverage as possible. So I want to be able to margin those stocks. And you can't margin stocks that are below $5 usually in most brokerage firms. ADX, nothing here right now. You got the toppy signals, 2 shooting stars, an evening star signal. I wouldn't be buying this one until it came up and broke this level again. ESPR, we made very good money on the options in this one because there was our fry pan bottom. There was our doji sandwich breakout. Went from about 75 to 115 in a matter of a couple of days. The calls that I bought for 460 here sold out at 32 up here. Now it's got bearish signal, and right now there's nothing to tell you that there's any buying yet. This was a positive day, but it wasn't a signal. Your stochastics is still heading down. If you're short this one, you stay short, and more than likely they're going to come back and fill this gap. And GDX, right now if this opens lower, you want to be going short. OPK tried to climb back up today, but didn't get there. OPK, you don't do anything. You should be out of this one. You don't do anything with this one until you see it close above the T-line. Otherwise, you might be in a sideways mode until the 50-day moving average catches up. Nordstrom's, get ready to short this one. Notice you got kind of a bearish scoop pattern, and there's your best friend on the downside, a doji followed by a gap down through the T-line. Now you've had another gap down. If they open this lower and do a doji sandwich, breaking you down to this level, it means they're probably going to take you all the way back down to the 200-day moving average. NQ, I take it you're looking at the NASDAQ. Oops. Oops, I hope I didn't goof those up. What did I just do? JWN. Okay. Making sure I wasn't looking at a previous chart. The NASDAQ, as we saw, found support right about the same level as it found support before. But it will be important to see how they open the, I think that's the one you're looking for, NQ. Or is this NQ? Wouldn't be, you've got a bullish engulfing signal. I wouldn't buy it until it broke this downtrending channel. You can see you're in kind of a wedge. BPT, oh, that's the one I skipped. This one, if you're a long-term investor, this one I would recommend. This is the Prudhoe Bay Royalty Trust, pays a good dividend. I don't know what it pays down here, but it's probably pretty close to 10%. And notice what you've had here. This is what we call a flutter kicker signal. Notice how it opened here and closed here. The next day they gapped it up, did a doji above the previous day's open. That already was a gap up. Then what do we know about a doji? This is kind of a doji hammer. It's going to move in the direction of how they open it. So when they opened it positive, we knew they were going to immediately go positive. This is what remember your kicker signal is the strongest of all your signals. And a flutter kicker is basically, if you took out this little flutter, you'd have a kicker signal. And this makes it very easy for an entry. But if you see that gap up and do a doji, we know that if it opens positive, that the probabilities of them trading it higher is extremely strong. And not only do you have a very strong signal, but you have a strong uptrend coming after that. Kraft, there's nothing you can really do here, Elliot. If you owned it, I'd take profits. CPE, John, I would use today's low as my stop. It shouldn't come back to the low of today and or the 200-day moving average. Facebook, that's another one that will move in the direction of how they open it. If it opens lower, you short it. If it opens positive, you start buying the J-hook pattern. SGY. Call you off guard. All right. Here's another one that's very simple to get into. You've had the Morningstar signal. You've had a doji. If it opens positive, more than likely it's going to break this downtrending channel if it comes up through the 50. So I'd be buying this on positive trading. I'd just be very conscious of what it does once it gets to the 200-day moving average. ConocoPhillips, nothing here to get real excited about. Again, an institutional trader, and it's kind of stuck sideways. So I wouldn't be real anxious to own this one. Definitely would not be anxious to buy it. SD, another fry pan bottom that you can be buying this one on positive trading tomorrow. And RIG, let's make this bigger. I don't know why these charts get a little skimpy all the time. RIG you can be buying. You just be very aware of what it does once it gets here, because that's where the resistance level will be. Slumberger, nice slow curve. Backed off a little bit today. If I was going to be buying Slumberger, I would be buying if it came back up through today's open. Again, Schlumberger is a very good long-term type trader. Whoops, hold on. Let's see. Okay. Sans, you stay short. Look at the slow curve. This is what you expect coming out of a slow curve, is that big move to the downside. Pretty much what we were expecting on QCOM, that slow curve, big move to the downside. Tazar, failure at the 50. Now, again, you have the doji. Same scenario. If it opens positive, you've got what we call the bobble, which is where they came up, failed at the 50, pulled back to the T-line, and then started back up again, kind of bobbled in here. You can buy this on positive trading tomorrow, just use the T-line as your stop, or you can buy it as it comes out through the 50. That would be your J-hook pattern, telling you that you're going to have another magnitude move of this same move, same magnitude anyways. Or if it opens lower, you can be going short because that tells you this down or this uptrending channel has then been breached. Let's see, Prudential. Right now, I wouldn't be long or short Prudential. It's just not a great looking chart. It's a dumpling top, which means you really couldn't trade it one way or the other. It's a slow curve. If it got back down to this level, then you watch for the big break to the downside. Dumpling top is the opposite of a fry pan bottom. And CELG, notice the hanging man. You're in the overbought condition. A hanging man, if it opens lower, you take profits immediately because where's it going to go to? At least back to the T-line. Right now, if you're short, you stay short, but if it opens positive, you know they're probably going to bring it back up to the T-line, and that might be telling you this area was the support area. Herbalife. That's in a bobble. Hit the 200, came back. You can get ready to buy this on positive trading, but I'd be more apt to buy it if it came back up through the 200-day moving average. I want to make sure it confirms those breakout levels. VLT. Same scenario here. If it opens positive, it's coming back up to at least test the T-line. If it opens lower, it's going down to the 50. You want to be short. American Express. Stay short. The failure, you're in a downtrend. You can see where the top of the trend channel is. They did a shooting star, and then a gap down. You stay short on this until you see a buy signal. And Noah, you get ready to buy this one, especially if it breaks out through this level. That tells you wave 1 and wave 3 are now in progress. ICPT. Another one that you can be buying. This is what helps you with your analysis. That you can have sell signals, but as long as it doesn't close below the T-line, you stay long. But the Japanese rice traders say, let the market tell you what the market is doing. They've taken this out as a bullish engulfing signal back up above the T-line. You can stay long now, or you can be buying this on positive trading and stay long as it stays above the T-line. Whoops. Boeing, same scenario as a lot of them. If it opens lower, you go short. If it opens positive, they're probably bouncing at least back up to the T-line. SS. S.SS. That one's not coming up. Google L, same scenario. It's going to move in the direction of how they open this one tomorrow. Salt. You can't be short because it's below $5. You're in a wedge formation. You should be out of this one. You had that little evening star. I would imagine they're coming back to the 50-day moving average on this one. I'd be out of it and see what it does at the 50. SYN, you stay short until you see a buy signal. You can't be short because it's below $3. You shouldn't be out in this one either. Valero, stay long on this one as long as it stays above the T-line. And notice how even on a pullback today, it stayed above the 3 T-line. The 3 T-line is a 3 exponential moving average. And if it's above the 3 T-line, obviously it's above the T-line, and it still tells you you're in a strong uptrend as long as they can't close it below the 3 T-line. SYN, another one you shouldn't be in. Did we do that one already? Yes, we did. I went backwards. That's just great. And TTS, you stay long on this one. If you're looking to buy it, you put your buy stop right above, I hate that little thing, right above the tops here. Put a buy stop at 1160. If it comes up through there, you're in wave 3. DGAS, breaking out of this little trend channel. You can buy this one on positive trading tomorrow. Let's see, we did craft ESPR. Did we do that one? Yeah, you stay short on this one until you see make sure it doesn't open positive tomorrow. SSO, you stay short on this one. That's the, the ultra, is that the short? Or that's the S&Ps. Yeah, it's going to move in the direction of how they open this one tomorrow. 20-year notes coming back. I would be short this one with that bearish engulfing signal followed by a gap down. I would suspect it's going to come back down. If you can pretty well draw a line here, your next target should be right about here, the same parallel line on the bottom. RATA, this is what I do. After I see a big move like this, notice what they did. They opened it up positive. If I didn't take my profits when it came back down through the open, I took my profits when it came back down through the previous day's close. If you're still owning this one, it has to stay above the 50 and the T line. GNVC, nothing here. You're failed at the 50. More than likely, doji or blue ice failure is going to take you down to the 200-day moving average. What was that one? GNC. PRMW. Another one where you just stay long until you see a sell signal. Let's see, we did ICPT. Apple. Apple looks like it's trying to support it on the 50. Double bottom. I wouldn't be buying Apple until it breaks this downward trend channel, so I'd want to see it close above the 20-day moving average. Definitely needs to get back up above the T line. Let's see, do SGY. Yes, you want to buy this on positive trading. FNF. The gray line is the 20-day simple moving average. FNF, you stay short until you see a buy signal and a close above the T line. And you're kind of in a wedge formation. I probably wouldn't be trading this one at all just because of the lack of magnitude of movement. BIB, looks like it tried to support here on the 50. How come these little things climb on here? Another one that if it opens positive tomorrow, if you're short, you cover your short position. Oh, that's the biotech. See if the biotechs are bouncing back up off the 50, which they've done a few times before. GPro. GPro starting back up. I probably wouldn't buy this one now until it does come up through the 50. Now it looks like it's already broken this little downtrending trajectory, but not with any great enthusiasm. I'd like to see it get up through the 50 on a bullish signal. We did Boeing, MTSN. Nothing here. You don't do anything on this until it comes back up above the T line. Oh, Robert, I would imagine, was that just announced? Yeah, it doesn't matter of a big fine for Schlumberger. They can afford it. Oops, ISIS. Another one that when it gapped down after the dark cloud, you stay short until you see a buy signal. Now you are getting close to this support level, and your stochastics are getting toward the oversold area. So just keep an eye on that for a bottoming action. Pulte Homes, another one that I wouldn't be long or short. There's just not enough magnitude. As you can see, this chart is sideways. I'd rather find something where I can see that there is a trend to it. HCLP, stayed above the T line. You can stay long on this as long as it stays above the T line. If you're buying it, buy it above 40 on the breakout. That tells you they would take it right up to the 200. Mobley. Mobley, you should have closed it out on the bearish engulfing signal that closed below the T-line yesterday. Now you just watch to see if it's going to do a J-hook. And what's the prerequisite for a J-hook? Indecisive trading after the pullback, after a very strong price move. And SanDisk. SanDisk, that's why when it closes below the T-line, you close it out. Because the probabilities are much greater in your favor that things, bad, negative things, bearish things will happen once they close below the T-line. I don't consider volume. We're not trading volume, we're trading price. Now, if you do see a reversal signal and you saw huge volume, a huge volume spike the day of, the day after, the day before, then you know there's been a lot of change of ownership. That is usually the smart money buying from the at the bottom from the panic sellers, or the exuberant buying selling into the smart money at the top. Up at 11. The top, yeah, for a breakout, I'd put a buy stop at 11.65, knowing that if it broke out through there, it was moving, coming out of this fry pan bottom. EGRX, right now you stay short if you're short, or you can go short if this opens weaker tomorrow. You had the big evening star, left-right combo, evening star signal, close below the T-line. Definitely shows the bears are in control. Okay, LTL down, usually SPX up. All right. SIG. Nothing here that would want me to be in this one at all. You're in a downtrend, and you can see the 50-day moving average is acting as a resistance. Line is one of the oil stocks that I would be apt to buy on this fry pan bottom if it came back up through today's open. I would tell you they're trying to break out of that downtrend. Twitter had a good chart the other day. Broke out. Today it told you that maybe the selling had stopped. You could be buying this one on positive trading tomorrow. And I'm going to guess that you're doing SWKS. This one you stay short until you see a buy signal or close back up above the T-line. I'm just going to make sure SKWS. That's what I thought. Price line, stay short. Bearish J-hook pattern. At least you know your next target is probably the 200-day moving average. AMTX. This one you can get ready to buy on positive trading because you've had a doji sandwich over the last 3 days. Tell you there's going to be more upside. Yahoo. Yahoo's just not been very impressive. I wouldn't be long or short this one because you're not moving in any direction. Why is the yes before bib? Or when you do these, when they come up, it's just on this system. It says that's Tony's stock bib. There's other symbols like crude oil. Whoops. But you don't have the S because that's a commodity. Geust. Geust, you stay long, but it has to open positive. You've had the little cradle pattern here. It has to open positive tomorrow to stay in it. So we did SWK. Let's see, HUV. HUV, I wouldn't be long or short this one. You can see it's in the bobble. If I was going to, you can't be short because it's a $3 stock. Yeah, I'd be trading something else. I want to incorporate MetaStock, be a part of your daily Monday, Wednesday, Thursday night forum. What's the best package deal? Email. Our website is the candlestickforum.com, and you can email Abraham at candlestickforum.com. We'll show you all the memberships. what are the ETA? The red is the 200 simple moving average. The blue is the 50-day simple moving average. And the gray is the 20-day simple moving average. This is what every major money manager around the world uses on their charts to make their decisions. The 8 exponential moving average is the T-line. Very simple use of the T-line. If you see a candlestick buy signal and a close above the T-line, you can stay long until you see a candlestick sell signal and a close back below the T-line. Then the 3 T-line is for the further away you move from the T-line, the higher the probability when you see a buy signal, they're going to bring it back up at least to the T-line. So you know that even if it fails at the T-line, you're probably out with a break-even or a slightly positive trade. You close out before the end of the current market day or first thing in the morning and hope it hasn't gapped down. If I see a close below the T-line, I close it out. I'd rather close it out and buy it back at a higher price knowing it's still moving in my direction than waking up the next morning and seeing it gap down on me. So anytime it closes below the T-line, just close it out. Do you have a formal track record? Nope, we're not here to do a track record. We're here to teach people how to trade using the candlesticks to improve their own trading. The reason we don't have a track record is because out of the 250 people in our chat room every day, some of them are scalpers, some of them are day traders, some are swing traders, some are long-term investors. And so we're not trying to put out, now I do put out 2 or 3 stock picks every day, but if I have time, I do it in a video format so people can still get an education of why those stocks are being recommended. Oh, 10 o'clock, you're right. I've got people way up past their bedtime. Caterpillar, so we're almost done. I can see the scrolling is... Caterpillar, I wouldn't be long or short. If I was anything, I'd be short this stock. Do you have a call room and a chat room? How do we sign up? Yeah, we've got both the, if you're learning candlesticks, we've got the general room. Our monthly membership is $97 a month. With that, you get 2 or 3 stock picks a day, the daily chat room, the Monday night session, the Thursday night session, and hopefully at least 1 extra session during the week, which would be maybe doing a session on a Wednesday night on entry and exit strategies, how to use options or how to use option spreads, how to set your stop loss candlestick signals, how to do your scans effectively. We've got all sorts of topics that we do so that instead of, as a member, you buy in the videos, we do them live so you can ask the questions right there. See, we did salt, UTHR. UTHR, same scenario as a lot of them. If this opens lower tomorrow, you can short it. They're going down to the 50. And Baba's just having a hard time getting out of its own way ever since they gapped it down. Notice kind of the doji gap down. You're still in a downtrend. I wouldn't be long or short Baba right now. And Alta, same scenario. If it opens lower tomorrow, you can be shorting it. If it trades back up above the T-line, you can be going long. They're going to move it in the direction of how they open it after the doji. What time frame? These are usually daily charts that we're looking at. But the charts look all the same. This is your daily chart on crude oil. But when I'm trading crude oil, I flip down to my 10-minute chart. So when crude oil did a buy signal here, there's kind of our bobble. Stayed long until did an evening star and closed out here. Didn't have anything really great after that. I was trading live cattle today. Let's see, live cattle. No. Live cattle. I closed out here because it was coming back down through the T-line, and I bought back over in here someplace, maybe right in this area. stay long as this stays above the T line, because my daily charts tell me I'm in a J-hook pattern. Wave 1, wave 2, wave 3. Now it might be wave 1, wave 2, looking for wave 3. We have done the scanning for TradeStation and TOS, but there's enough people still interested. I might have Hubert come back on again and see if he'll do a session. Jerry, tell Sandy that. She sometimes forgets. Do you give us the exit price? No, I tell you the parameters of when to exit, and the parameters are that if you're long, you stay long until you see a candlestick sell signal and a close below the T line. I don't try to give exit strategies. I try to teach people what the exit strategy is. Oh, I don't know what the ETFs are for India. Is it INC? INCO? Oh, India. You stay short. Notice the kicker type signal up here that broke this trend. You're still in a downtrend. Was it Indy? Yep, yeah, same scenario. Kicker signal, there's your left-right combo. You're still on a downtrend. How do you count your waves? I'm only counting wave 1, 2, 3, and when wave 1, 2, 3 is over, and wave 2 starts on the next one, then it becomes wave 1, wave 2, and then I'm looking for wave 3 after that. I'm not into Elliott wave, trying to count wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with an ABC retracement, because even Elliott said that it's all subjective of what the waves are going to do. I'm a swing trader, so I'm only interested in what the next move is going to be. Close is the key. So do you wait until the last 5 minutes of the market to consider getting out? Will they close below the T-line, or wait till the next day? If I can see that it's closing below the T-line and there's still 10, 15 minutes left to go, and I can see the markets aren't coming back up, I'll close out the position. I'm not trying to buy at the absolute bottom, and I'm not trying to sell at the absolute top. I'm trying to catch those big, fat, high probability moves in between, and once I get that, I'll go on and find the next high probability move. We can do, if I have Hubert back on, we can do the TOS and the TradeStation hopefully in the same night. Yeah, Robert, I was the worst investor in the world before candlesticks came along. I was even a stockbroker for 8 years, and I discovered the brokerage firms didn't know what made prices go up or down. They thought the best way was find a company that has good management and good growth and blah, blah, blah. Didn't mean a hill of beans. You've got some of the best companies in the world that don't move, and you've got some of the worst companies in the world that people make fortunes off of. Candlestick sell signal below the T-line. Yeah. Do I need the package Steve talked about this eve if I have Think or Swim? We had that package that we've put out earlier. Again, email Abraham. It's a one-time package. You just put it on your charts, and you'll have all the. No, Elliot. No, I was. But that's your benefit, because I'm the type of person that doesn't like to make the same mistake 7 times. So once I do that, I finally learned what to do. I would recommend MetaStock. I use all of them. All depends on which ones I happen to pull up in the morning. And I was saying earlier that MetaStock, if you're trading around the world, or if you're trading commodities or currencies, you don't have to jump from chart to chart. MetaStock has them all on the same all on the same charts. Okay, I kept you way past your bedtimes, so feed the dogs, throw out the cat. We'll see everybody in the chat rooms.